Nick Diaz, always fascinating to listen to. I started off by asking him, Nick, your suspension is up. Is this something that you're excited about, or it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? You get to make money again, you get to continue with your career, but you put yourself in harm's way stepping back into that octagon. Here's what he said.
Yeah, I can't wait. I mean, man, just get right back to it, get punched and kicked and all that good stuff. That's just... It's gonna be a bloodbath.
Now, are you being serious, or are you looking forward to stepping back into the octagon, or is it almost like a dual-edged sword here? Like it's great, the suspension is over, you can make money again, but it means you got to step into the cage and put yourself in harm's way as well.
Yeah, I mean, what can I say? Like, for me, this is a curse. You know, I haven't been fanatical about being an MMA fighter since I turned pro. You know what I mean? Like, this is not my... People are always like, oh, so that's your passion. I'm like, no, it's not my passion. Women are my passion, or at least, maybe, well, one woman, potentially, I suppose. You know, at least that's how I set out from the very beginning. So this is my job to acquire what I, am aiming, shooting for, and that's, pretty much the light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, that's what it was from the beginning. Things haven't changed. It's still... it's still the same. If you make it this far, it's probably because there isn't a bit of quit. But we're at a certain point now where I need to keep the ball rolling here. So I'm ready.
Yeah, and I wonder, because of what you just said, at any point during those 18 months, did you ever say to yourself, I'm cool, I'm enjoying this time away from fighting, maybe I won't go back? Or was it always inevitable that you would be back once the suspension was over?
Yeah, and then I can't say either. I mean, I don't need nothing. I don't owe anybody anything, and I'm fine the way I am right now. I'm like, if the opportunity, if the right opportunity presents itself, then of course I'm off suspension. It's as if I was irrelevant up until this point now. So I mean, if you want to talk about me and then make like I'm the guy to fight, everybody's dropping my name, then then we can have a fight. To fight, if that's what the fans want, if that's what if that's what needs to happen, then that's that's what we're gonna do.
I want to look forward and I want to get to your next fight, but real quickly, just on the suspension, did you feel like you were robbed of a year and a half of your career, or do you think that I broke a rule and so I did have to serve some kind of punishment? What did you think about just the 18-month suspension that you just served? Was it justice, or was it unfair to you? Did it rob you of a part of your career?
Sure, there's ups and downs with that, being suspended. For instance, like, people don't understand I've had 37 fights, 3 to 5 fights a year for 17 years. Now, that does something to somebody. So on account of these suspensions, they've only been my only vacations I've ever had. So it's costing me a lot of money to have a vacation, basically. And, over the last 3 years, I've been doing like something like 1 fight a year on average. And so, it's nice to take a step back and see that there's more to life. I didn't do any hanging out or any drinking or any like meeting people or going different places unless it was for a fight. And then after that, I want to go home. I've been in, a lot of fights. I've had, I've had to cultivate some sort of a home life. Now that's different. Now that I'm down to doing things like rather than nothing, doing something rather than nothing over the last 2.5, 3 years, like, that changes a lot. And, taking a step back and seeing and have a look at these guys who have done things in their, amazing things in their career, but still they haven't, they haven't done the things, they haven't fought the best guys like I've fought. I've beat guys that have beat these guys that have beat the guys that these guys have beat. So I'm going, this would have, I'm not impressed with anything that I see. I already understand everything about what's what when it comes to my athleticism versus their athleticism. There was some. You just had this big fight with the welterweight champions and Robbie Lawler and Tyrone Woodley, and I said right away, I was like, okay, well, there's 2 things I don't do. I mean, I'm like, I come from a family of teachers, and then if there's anything I can leave behind, it's like, listen to this. Okay, look, 2 fundamentals that you just don't do in a fight. You standing upright and backing straight up. There's 2 things I don't do. So, everyone is like, oh, this is, I would like to see a good fight too, and a fight to go on for a while. But, this is just a tactical mistake, and I think that, we're going to have to go from here and see who's going to be fighting who soon.
Well, yeah, you've made it clear, and you made it clear before the suspension, that you were only interested in big fights. So right now, sitting here today, August 1st, 2016, what are the big fights out there for Nick Diaz?
We're going to have to see. That's what I said. We're going to have to sit down and have a look at what the fans want to see and who these guys, like I said, I'm on top right now. I'm on the top of this game. There ain't no giving me a shot. I'm giving somebody a shot. If anybody's getting a shot, if somebody's getting a shot against me, because I'm the guy to beat. You know what I'm saying? These guys aren't going to do any money fighting each other, and until they do some money fighting each other, I'm not interested either. So I'm looking for, I'm looking for the right guy who is going to make the right show and do the right numbers, and then we can talk about something here. Because like I said, I don't need nothing. I'm fine the way I am.
Potentially that guy.
We'll see how he does. We'll see how he does. He has some fights to do. He just gets the title now, and then, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm over here just sitting back. Like, I don't need a fight. There's no reason for me to come and fight for fun. I don't do that. That's not what I do. I don't like to hurt people for fun, and I don't have any. I like Tyron Woodley, and I like Robbie Lawler. So can we talk about a reason behind why I should be out to get somebody? So I'm somebody who works on karma. I'm not somebody who's been, everybody set me up with the fights, and I never had a bad attitude. I never painted this bad picture for myself. Someone started something, and in my defense, I stood up and said the only things that I knew how to say, especially back then as a kid. Like I said, 37 fights, 3 to 5 fights a year, 17 years later. After a while, you sit down, maybe you have a drink, and you realize there's more to life, and you talk to some people, and you meet some people, and then you go, wow. Okay, look at who's done what, like what I have, and what is wrong with their game versus what I'm doing and what I'm bringing to the table, and and I count out every possibility. I'm not going to guess how I'm going to fall victim, so I doubt it. But I'm going to think of every single way that I'm not going to stand a chance, and I'm going to assess that situation until, like I always have and I always do, and I'm going to do it better than I did the last time, like I always, and all the numbers are going to match up too, all the the times, the athleticism that I'm doing, it's going to be better than it was last time, just like every year, just like every season. So I've got another few years getting stronger before I slow down. That's me. I'm not getting any younger, but I'm still strong and I have some time.
Nick, to this day, I think a really big fight for you, a big money fight, would be George St. Pierre. And he retired in 2013, but he keeps on hinting that he's coming back. Have you paid any attention to that? Do you think George St. Pierre is coming back?
Do you think a second fight? Yeah, I think he just likes to talk and be like, okay, I'm still still relevant here. But realistically, now that the way that they're testing, I mean, they come to my house. They've been to my house like 6 times already. I'm not even fighting. I'm suspended. So I'm like, why are you guys showing up at my house, calling me? I'm over here trying to make ends meet somewhere in like Las Vegas or somewhere, and they're calling me like, what? Why aren't you home? We're gonna have to fill out a missing athlete, something you didn't say you're gonna be. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, you guys been to my house 4 times already or something, So they never had to do that to George. When I fought George St. Pierre in Canada, first of all, somebody freaking drugged me. Okay, that guy didn't make weight. The commission come up to me and tells me that he's not gonna make weight, and whether it was a pound or not a pound doesn't matter. In Las Vegas, or if the fight had been where it should have been, they would have not only drug tested us, but there's no pound allowance, so he would have had to make his full weight. And I've never been in the best shape of my life like that ever, and then went out there just completely zapped like that. Didn't even have a warm up because I'm like, okay, I gotta save my energy. That's not me. I'm not that guy. So there was something going on in that fight. There was something funny about that fight. You know what I mean? I had to change up my whole plan around, like, on my way in, like, first round. This guy, too, like I said, I work on karma. I'm like, I don't have nothing against the guy. I'm just saying, like, look, I didn't get my fair shot. If they were over here I didn't know any kind of I don't know nothing about, I didn't go to law school. I don't know about a contract when you put, okay, you're going to show up to a press or otherwise what? Oh, I don't get the fight, even though that, like, I just got a contract with boxing and now I can't go back now on and just do what I want. Now that I've missed a press conference, they pulled me from that fight. And I didn't get that fight when I was ready. If I'd have got that fight when I was supposed to do it, I would have won the fight. So I had to go through all sorts of drama, no breaks, 3 fights in a row, just like always, 3 to 5 fights a year, and then finally they gave me that fight in Canada, freezing Canada, freezing cold Montreal, where all kinds of funny stuff was going on. And I remember they drug tested us. We all pissed into like a film case. They put Scotch tape over the top. That was the USADA over there.
Yeah. Well, and now we have the USADA program, and like you mentioned, part of that is giving your whereabouts at all times. Has that been an issue for you? Has that been difficult? Because if you don't do that, they can potentially suspend you again. Is that something that you...
I'm like, hey, they're going to have to understand, though, that if I'm not doing a fight, I'm going to go have to do some things and learn how the world works, because all I do is dodge punches and kicks my whole life. So if I'm gone for a few days in, Southern California or Dallas or Las Vegas, Miami, New York, whatever it is, I don't care. I'm just like, hey, I'm going to be on the move. So, but of course, if I'm in a training camp, I have a fight 3 months, I'm locked into. I don't even want to leave. So I get home now. I go home now. I'm like, what am I doing here? So I got to go. When I have a training camp, I have a reason to be home, training at home instead of making appearances and giving seminars and. And that's a good time. But I mean, realistically, if I want to act like think of myself as a pro athlete, I need to train like one. So, I want to be home for some of these camps. So that's, I make my way home for a few camps. When guys on my team have hard fights, I do a few days, and then I get booked, and then I get out. But what I want to do is I need the right fight if I'm going to do a fight this year. So I'm waiting on the right deal, close the right deal. We do the right. Somebody needs to start, making a show here, because these guys are just, they're boring. These guys are boring. They're not like what I want to watch. You know what I mean? I have the fan base because the fans know what they want to see, and that's what I bring to the table. And a lot of these guys, one way or another, they're not bringing that action.
If the UFC came to you right now with a fight offer for Robbie Lawler, would that be a fight that interests you?
No, he just lost. That's not a fight that interests me. He just lost, and nothing against him, but I mean it's just not that. I don't think that's where I'm headed right now. I doubt that's where I'm headed right now. We'll see what the Nick, I have to talk about these things. I'm not trying to do any sort of like what I'm going to do and what I'm not going to do through the media. I'm just saying, like, I'm here to say, look, I'm not suspended no more. These guys are talking to me, talking about me. How do I feel about it? I'm like, what? I could care less. I'm like, what are you guys going to do for me? I'm like, what? I mean, I can't help you. You can't help yourself. You need to go and help yourself, and then maybe that we can, after you do that, we can have some sort of a deal.
So it sounds like, as of right now, you don't see a fight out there that makes sense for you. It sounds like there's just no option
I don't
right
see
now.
George St. Pierre coming back. He's too scared to come back and do a fight with me. And the rest of these guys are not superstars. Who are they? I don't even want to say their name because nobody even heard it yet until I say something. Now everybody knows who the guy is.
Hey, Nick, one last thing before I let you go. How is Nate looking for his rematch with Conor McGregor, and what's that been like for you to see how far your younger brother has come in his career, really over the last 7 months, just in terms of the money that he's making, the different contract that he has, a guy who's been in the sport for a long time? What's that been like for you to watch that?
Yeah, it's nice to see him. It's nice to see him come into 170 pounds and like actually start to be, train at that weight and fill out at that weight, and he's just a whole lot stronger. I'd say he's just as quick as ever, and he's a whole lot stronger. So, it's been a long way down. When you're 6'1", coming all the way down to 155, you better be in some type of condition, because you're not going to be strong against those guys. They're going to be the strong guy. It's just like, it's like any short guys you're fighting. They're not doing the work that I'm doing to be optimal at that weight, the way that I do it. That's why I was saying, you got George talking about, oh, I could make 55 easy. I'm like, yeah, I know, because if you would have to. You wouldn't be able to fight at 170 pounds and be strong no more. So you would have to go and do the work and be fast at a lighter weight. That's what I've had to do my whole career. I'd be walking around fighting, and it's not that I don't think that I can win at 185 pounds. It's that I'm the most optimal at 170 pounds. And, like I said before, there's fights for me. I'm like, okay, I got the 185-pound champions and the 170-pound champions. Everybody wants to fight me. I said, look, okay, I already negotiated a good amount of deal of pay-per-view without having a title. So to me, that title means nothing. If you want to negotiate a deal, we can talk about a deal at whatever weight you want to talk about it, and we can meet in the middle. Because like I said, I don't owe nobody nothing, and I don't need this. I don't need this. I don't need this interview. I don't need this sport. I don't need none of this. I walk around. People know who I am. I got friends. I can make ends meet. We're gonna, I'm just. I mean, I grew up around people who've been hustling from the start, so it's not, it's. I think I've got like a bright little future ahead of me, especially if I don't fight. Why would I want to go out there and do a fight with somebody and get my face punched and kicked? It's not my idea of a good time. I don't recommend it for your children.
You're retired? That you don't come back?
Sure, yeah. If nobody wants to see,
that you're retired, that you don't come back?
I don't have it out. I don't have it out for nobody. Who do I got it out for? For what reason? What did they do to me? And then what am I got? I'm not out to do nothing for them. So why am I on the attack? I'm not. I'm over here like, look it. If you guys want to do something, then do it. But I'm the only guy to beat. I'm the only guy doing like real numbers, doing real. People want to see me. People know who I am. They don't know who you are. They don't care. They don't even know who you are. They know who you got. They know who these guys are because they get on TV with a microphone and a suit. That's not what I do. I don't do that. You're not reaching out to the right demographic of people who's following and watching you right now. Okay, all the people that that's not how I roll. I mean, that's just not. I'm not bringing that whole. I'm not a sports newscasting, talking, microphone interviewer. I do fights or I do, some training, and I like to be into nutrition or something healthy. But I don't do. I'm not like
Nick,
gonna
thanks
go
so much
on
for the time.
and yeah, thank you.